Are you a youth baseball coach who is struggling just with overall success of your team? Today's video is for you. I'm going through 3 strategy ideas to instantly improve your team's success. These are 3 ideas that I have that you can implement today at tonight's practice, and it will instantly improve your team's success. Hey team, welcome to another Bullpen Bulletin with Coach Hart and Building Better Baseball, the best place for baseball education. So let's get into these 3 strategy ideas to instantly improve your team's success that you can implement at today's practice. All right, so the first one is establishing routines. So this comes from a lot of practices I see or I hear about that the players don't really know what's coming, or they don't really know what's going on. They rely on the coach to tell them what's going on in practice. So establishing routines is my first strategy idea. And the first thing with this is that it will make your life so much easier, right? Practices should have routines everywhere, right? The whole entire practice should be formulated in some sort of routine, and routines sprinkled everywhere. Now, they don't have to be the same tasks. It's almost like a plug and play of like a warm up routine, or this is how we do BP, or this is how we do stations, or things like that, right? So it's not necessarily the tasks or the skills that you're trying to do. It is the routine of the practice where the players know what's coming next, and we'll get into why this is important right now, right? Routines help set the expectation, and it leaves little to the unknown for players. And what happens if players know what's coming up next? They are finishing one thing and they know already what is coming up next because it's in the routine that they are normal, or their normal routine, what they do. What could happen if they don't know what is coming up next? If it's left to the unknown and they're waiting for the coach to tell them what's coming up? All right. It helps players understand what will happen and prevents them from losing focus. That's the answer. They lose focus, right? Without a routine and with the coach always telling them what is coming up next, it just leaves more room to lose focus and to goof off and to just kind of do other things, right? But if they know that we go from warm up, we go to offense, we go to defense, we go to BP, we go to scrimmage, and then end of practice, and then after practice we have a meeting. That routine of each thing it just allows less room for the players to lose focus, right? It helps them understand and helps them just kind of be more engaged with the practice. All right, so examples are, you have a warm-up routine. So every practice you come, and if you have a pre-practice routine for the early arrivals, then they do that. Once they go out for the warm-up, they know exactly what to do because they warm up kind of in the same routine every single day, right? You could have a BP routine. So your batting practice, you run batting practice the same way every single time, where they know what to expect. They know the order or how you decide the order. Like with me, I like deciding the BP order on the order you get to practice. So the first player to practice, they hit first. Second player to practice, they hit second, and so on and so forth, right? So the order will change each time, but they know that's the routine. They know that's how the BP. So I have no players coming up to me asking, oh, can I hit first? Can I hit first? Blah, blah, blah. They already know what the order is because they see who is arriving at practice, right? So you could have a station routine. So every time you do stations, no matter what stations you do, they know the routine of how the stations are operated, right? So there's different routines. It really allows for more focus and allows, like I said, for less time for the players to lose focus and goof off, right? Because they know what is going to come next. All right. We don't want to leave it open for them to come to you, or for you to have to constantly tell them what's coming up next in the routine of practice. All right. So the first one, establish routines. Second one, simulate game situations. All right. So the main purpose of this idea is that when game time comes, you want your players to feel like they've been here before. All right. So in the games, you don't want them to be in the games and have them experience something in the game for the first time. They won't be prepared, right? So simulating game situations is just really important for getting that game-like feel in them during practice, so that when they do get to the game, they're like, oh, I've done this 100 times at practice. I know what to do, right? So if players don't feel game-like scenarios, if they don't feel the game-like scenarios, they won't be prepared, like we just said. You can use scrimmages. So that's in-house scrimmages or within your team scrimmages. You could use scrimmages against another team. But scrimmages are a really good way to simulate that game-like situations where the players feel prepared when they get into the game. They know like they've been in the situation of fielding a bunt or operating a rundown or doing cutoffs or doing anything like that, right? If you simulate those game situations, they will be more prepared in the game, which more preparation leads to more success and more wins, right? So use a stopwatch. So this is actually something I heard the other day, and I really, really like this idea. Use a stopwatch. Make it a fun game. So using a stopwatch, and I'll tell you in a second, but it makes it a fun game at practice to see how quick they can make a play. All right, so when you have a stopwatch and you're in BP, let's say, right, and the shortstop gets a ground ball, as soon as the ball touches the glove, because every ground ball is different, right? You could get to the ball, it's in different spots, right? But as soon as the ball touches the glove, start the stopwatch and then have them throw to first, stop the stopwatch, and tell them, say, oh, you made that play in 3 seconds. Make sure, or let's see if you can do it in 2 seconds next time, right? And have your players do little friendly competitions with each other of who can do the fastest play, right? And that really gets them. That not only gets them kind of engaged in BP, but it also gets them at game speed, right? So the game moves at a different speed than practice, right? We want practice to feel like a game, and doing this little stopwatch activity is getting them at game speed because they want to beat the clock. They want to beat their other score or their other time that they've done, right? And BP is your biggest asset, so use it, right? So BP, every single BP session, your players should get the most game-like situations in, because that is the time when everybody is in a position and there are just balls being hit, right? So they get a lot of reps. Every player should move on every ball. You should do your pre-step, and if the ball's coming to you, do your game-like situation, do the stopwatch, see how fast they can make the play. But if the ball doesn't come to you, let's say you're in third base and the ball is hit to right field, you could take a couple steps. You do your pre-step and you take a couple steps just to get that reaction time, and then you come back to your position and get ready, right? Use BP. It is your biggest asset to simulate those game situations. And like I said, adding in this little stopwatch idea, it just makes it a lot more fun for the kids, right? Because you have the second baseman and shortstop playing this little competition of who can make the fastest play, right? So different things like that. So the number 2 strategy is simulate game situations. It's really important because if the kid has never, it gets into a game and they feel that they've never experienced this situation before, they won't be as successful, right? So simulate game situations. All right, the third one is have a mini reward system or sort of recognitions during practice. All right, so have little rewards or recognitions during practice for best plays or performance in the practice, i.e., a treasure box, right? So you could have like a little treasure box at the end of practice, and whoever makes the best play of practice, they get a little thing out of the treasure box, right? Or whoever has the best performance. Like if you were doing a scrimmage and the pitcher did really well, they would get that recognition, right? So just have this mini reward system. It kind of gives a positive incentive for the players to go all out in practice because they want to get that little prize, right? And it doesn't have to be a big thing. It could be like erasers or something, obviously that has to do with baseball, but it doesn't have to be big. Just something small, because you're gonna have to provide it every single practice. But having these little mini reward systems or recognitions is really important to kind of keep the practice up tempo and have everybody just going all out at practice, right? So this idea makes practice a lot more fun for players, right? So like I said, it gives them incentive that, oh, if I make a diving play, I'm definitely going to get that treasure box gift, right? So it helps them go all out during practice, like we've said, right? So it just kind of gets up the energy, and it gives some incentive like I said, to have little friendly competitions and to go all out trying to make that best play. All right. One thing I want to say with this is do not use playing time or game positions as incentives. So the reward should not be like you are going to get more playing time, right? Or you are going to play shortstop if you're not a shortstop, right? In the game, you actually want to do your best to win the game, right? And put each player in a position to succeed. So playing time is not a good incentive, and game positions, anything that has to do with the game, don't use those as incentives. I like having like little trinkets or whatever, maybe little fidgets or whatever, just for them to get something at the end of practice. All right. And one thing I just thought of is that you don't necessarily want the same player to win it every single time. And I know that some players will always go all out. They're always your best player or whatever. But you want to kind of switch it up and make sure everybody gets something at some point, because not so that everybody gets one, but just so that it doesn't lose its value. It doesn't lose its incentive power, right? Because if the same player keeps on getting it every single time, then all the other players are like, oh, well, it's just going to be Johnny who gets it this time. So it just gives some incentive, right? So kind of switch it around. You don't have to purposefully give it to kids who didn't earn it. You want the kid to actually earn it, but try to break it up a little bit to try to pass it around a little bit. All right. So fielding, if you're doing a fielding practice, you can do the best play of the field, right? Whoever made the best play, whether it be a throw, a catch, a fielding ground ball, catching a fly ball, whatever, right? You can do a best play. BP, you can do the best executed hit and run, or the best executed bunt, right? Or someone who hit every single ball, they didn't let a ball go by, or swing and miss, or something like that. All right. You could do overall hustle. So one kid was hustling all around and you noticed it, he could get the recognition for the practice. All right. So these little mini rewards or recognitions just give more incentive to go all out at practice and just have something fun for the end of practice, because the kids are waiting for it, right? They're waiting for it. They're like, oh, I made this play, but also Johnny over here made this play. I wonder who's going to get it. Right. It just spices up practice a little bit and it makes it a little bit more fun. All right, so these three ideas, hope you can implement them today and you can instantly see improvement in your team, because, like I said, they help the kids go all out at practice. And that's what we want. We want the kids to go all out. We want them to be at like game like speed every single practice, to be focused and to be doing what we want them to do. So the first one, establish routines. Routines are really important to help kids stay focused. The second one, simulate game-like situations. So make sure you put kids in a game-like situation so that when they get into the game, it's like they've been there before and they know what to do. And the last one, have these little mini rewards or recognitions of some sort where that gives them kind of incentive to make the best play or kind of go all out at practice. So hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you can take these and implement them today at practice and just watch your team's success skyrocket, because everybody's focused. Everybody's trying to win this award to do these little recognition things. All right. So hopefully it helped. Before you go, grab your free coaching starter pack. If you would like to plan your next practice in less than 10 minutes, I have a free practice plan blueprint in your free coaching starter pack. Link below. Go grab it if you feel like it'd be helpful. And remember, I'm Coach Art. This is Building Better Baseball, the best place for baseball education. And I'll see you in another video real soon.